America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
We're losing our democracy!
more inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Wake up!
Before we get into that, let's get into this.
All right, man. We are live. Happy Friday.
Happy motherfucking Friday, bro.
All right. Yeah. Fucking everybody's working for the weekend.
Some
You got any plans for the weekend?
micro dosage.
Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's some good times, man. A lot better than what I'm going to be doing. Well, I guess depending on what what your perspective on better is. I'm going to be working on some Bidenomics this weekend. I'm going to be celebrating celebrating Bidenomics. In other words, I'm going to be working Uber. I'm going to be working my second job all weekend, so.
That's a good way to put it, though, man. Celebrating Bidenomics, bro. That's fucking great.
Right. Fucking trying to keep some food on the table, keep the lights on and shit, But anyway, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Liberty Bowl. Today, we're going to be talking about Merrick Garland appointing a special counsel. Well, appointing a special counsel title to basically the person that was essentially already the special counsel in the Hunter Biden case. So we're going to be kind of looking into that. Is it actually a win, or is it pretty much just a shield for Biden? All right. So what's your take on that whole thing, man?
Absolute political theater as usual. One way to look at it is it's a look. We're being fair, so it's okay if we prosecute Trumpsicles, right? And then on the other hand, it's actually a way to protect the Bidens from being subpoenaed to speak in front of Congress, because of course this comes just less than 48 hours after Comer said they're going to subpoena the Biden family, and then on top of that, like you said, this is the same guy that structured the sweetheart deal that fell through. So this is someone that's can't be trusted, man. You know what I mean? This is Garland's stooge, just like Jack Smith, and they're just Democrat henchmen.
Yep. I mean, so essentially, Merrick Garland's his boss. So the whole thing that they're trying to say is like, oh well, he's a Trump appointee, so you guys should be happy. Merrick Garland is given a Trump appointee special counsel status on Hunter Biden. Like, you guys should be doing backflips, jumping for joy. And when the Democrats are saying that, that's when it's a fucking setup. It's a trap. That's when that's when everything's all fucked about this. So basically, yes, he is a Trump appointee, but like I said, Merrick Garland is his boss, and Merrick Garland's boss is fucking Joe Biden. Right, so there's still a major conflict of interest here, and as you mentioned, he is the prosecutor that basically signed off on this sweetheart deal that even the federal judge had to say, like, yeah, no, this doesn't make any sense. And then wait a minute, yeah, actually, you're right, that doesn't make sense. Oh, deal's off the table, haha. And so basically he puts on a show. Not to mention the fact that he drags fucking ass, like, to say the least. Like, he waited so long to start this whole thing that basically we're past the statute of limitations on the most important parts of the case that actually matter. And so basically that's why he's only getting this little slap on the wrist for a little bit of tax stuff and the gun charge, which of course at the same time he's getting diversion for, so he's still going to be able to buy guns afterward and everything. But we'll see how these next deals come through. I think they're gonna go to trial, right?
Actually, I just read just not long before we came on that before making this announcement of the special prosecutor, that they actually filed a motion to dismiss the case in Delaware,
Really?
where the sweet deal fell through. Yeah, so it was almost like a look over here, we're appointing the special counsel, and then on the back end, behind closed doors, they're trying to drop charges. You know what I mean? So it's just a fucking game, man.
Right.
It's just
It's really it's the prosecutor and the defense working together to try and make a deal that a judge is going to approve, that is still at the same time going to be as sweetheart as can be for Hunter Biden, because that's the president of the United States son, and I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it all goes. Like you said, it really is just kind of a just putting on a show, but the important thing here is really kind of the timing. So he's going to assign him a special counsel, meaning that basically this is going to drag on past the 2024 election. As we said, this guy is fucking known for dragging his fucking feet on all of this, and he's a prosecutor basically working with the fucking defense to try and come up with the fucking sweetheart deal and shit. This guy can't be trusted, and basically it's all just putting on a show for or putting on a show for the people, to basically say like, look, like fucking Merrick Garland's appointing a Trump appointee, a special counsel in the Hunter Biden probe, and it's all just bullshit. So another kind of theory that people are floating out there is now that he has special counsel privileges, it may obstruct any sort of a Congress hearings into it. And basically now it's an ongoing investigation. Any question you have to ask me, it's an ongoing investigation. And basically, so now that blocks that whole avenue, because as we know, with it's only having the House right now and not having the actual the Senate or anything like that. All we could really do is just kind of hold hearings and basically get all this information out there. So this may be throwing a wrench in the gears to that, but I don't know. Jonathan Turley actually posted on Twitter, and he basically kind of disputes that claim. Let me pull it up right here. So, all right. So from Jonathan Turley, after his appointment as special counsel, Weiss has announced that the deal with Hunter Biden is dead as Dillinger. Defense counsel may now regret telling the prosecutors to just rip up the agreement. FARA, anyone? All right. So as you guys know, FARA is the Foreign Agent Registration Act, which basically, with Hunter Biden, collecting money from overseas business dealings and working, on behalf and all that shit of, basically, political fucking, being a political fucking person or whatever overseas for foreign nations, he would have to register as a foreign agent, right? And so, seeing as he didn't do that, which is actually isn't that what they're getting Devin Archer for as well, for not registering with FARA?
That and also what was it, a fraud, $60 million a fraud scheme as well. So
all right. So he's basically saying that he might they might be adding FARA charges to it as well. So he goes on to say, the problem is the appointment of Weiss as special counsel. Despite the testimony of the whistleblowers for the IRS agents, this seems a lot like sending Shoeless Joe Jackson back to the game after telling him, "Say it ain't so, Joe." I'll be honest, I do not get the reference.
he was on the White Sox, and he's famous for the team that threw the World Series.
All right. So basically saying that they're throwing in their third string quarterback at fucking bottom of the ninth and shit. They're worst person at the bottom of the ninth and shit type shit.
Yeah. You're throwing in a pitcher that actually wants the opposing team to win.
Right. All right. So the problem with Garland's announcement does not seem to expand the mandate from a narrow focus on Hunter as opposed to the broader Biden corruption scandal. The initial impact is to insulate Weiss from calls for testimony before Congress. The question is, if Weiss always had this power to ask for an appointment, why didn't he when he was reportedly prevented from pursuing charges in 2 other jurisdictions? So a special counsel investigation will not prevent the House from pursuing an impeachment inquiry, particularly if Garland is still refusing to expand the scope of the mandate to Weiss to include the influence peddling allegations against Joe Biden. So basically, Jonathan Turley is arguing that this actually could be a good thing, right? It's not going to interfere with Congress's hearings, anything like that, and basically, again, he is kind of pointing out that it is kind of fucking throwing a pitcher that wants the other team to win fucking at bat in the bottom of the ninth and shit, but still, he's basically trying to put the I guess theories at ease that it's going to interfere with Congress being able to look into it. So what do you think about that theory?
I mean, he very well could be right. The guy's a pretty, pretty up there legal mind. But I heard Judge Napolitano speak on the situation, and he's saying that basically Garland's appointment of a special counsel in this situation with the ongoing investigation with Congress could actually be unlawful regardless of precedent, and that they could basically go to war with each other over this between Congress and the DOJ.
Yeah.
See if that happens because Republicans love to cuck.
Right.
But even McCarthy has come out and basically said that this is basically just to set up a shield. So I mean, I tend to lean that way regardless of what any other person says. To me, they're just trying to, like you said, slow walk it. Not only because of whistleblowers' testimony, and which one of the IRS whistleblowers have come out in the last 48 hours to speak on this and say this is the same prosecutor. He's going to do the same shit, right? But they're slow walking it while putting the Trump shit into fast forward,
right? Trying
to get it for January 2nd, right before the Iowa caucus. You know what I mean? So it's fucking election interference, man.
Right. I mean, most people
Go ahead.
I was gonna say most people are just believe that the Biden administration doesn't care anymore. They're just blatant with it. They're going full on fucking dictatorship mode. They're weaponizing the government in front of everybody. Like so much to the point where even like people like CNN have to acknowledge that some things may be a little bit fishy here. Like some it's that far. It's they don't give a shit that much. It's blatant. They're sinking the ship.
I don't want to border on truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like it's just a ploy against Trump. Like everything that they accuse Trump of, Alinsky 101, I guess, is what they've been guilty of before and after, right? I mean, through the Russia hoax and the tax situation, the impeachments. I mean, you just keep going, and now with Biden shit with the DOJ, it's all just been one scheme aimed at stopping Trump, man. Yeah. And they act like this guy is some moronic, doofus that is going to send the country into descent. But at the same time, their actions speak louder and tell you that they're absolutely fucking horrified of the guy, man.
Do you ever wonder, like, I mean, obviously, he's a major threat to their power, but like these people are obviously like terrified of Trump, like they're deranged to the point where like they're literally making up stories. Like, I mean, did you see Sam Harris talking about like it wasn't about Trump, but basically the lefties are getting insane, they're getting delusional and shit. And do you ever like they say, fucking even the crazy person screaming on the side of the street, he sees something that other people don't, He may be fucking absolutely insane, but there's a reason for his madness. There's a reason that he's out there fucking screaming his head off and shit. What do you think the deep underlying cause to their derangement so far to the point where they're willing to completely destroy the country just so Trump does not get elected again? Like what do you think their deep seated reasoning may be?
Light. I mean, it's all I can think of myself. He was part of the club for many years. He obviously knows the schemes. I mean, he told us through, the original election cycle in 2015, through his presidency and over these past couple of years. And he's told you the game. I mean, as far as Clintons are concerned, the Bidens, I mean, he knows. He's there. He was part of, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he flat out stood on a stage filled full of, political figures and said, I donated to your campaign. I mean, he's been involved in this shit behind the scenes for decades, and they're afraid of him actually showing the shit he said is reality. Other than the stuff that unfolds over a slow period of time, where the lefties have had time to slowly absorb it and come up with reasons why it's not real still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically destruction of the Democrat Party, man.
Right.
And of course, I'm not one of those rah rah Republican because I believe there's a shit ton of them involved. We've both seen a list of politicians that have outperformed the S&P, and Dan Crenshaw, old Mittens Romney. I mean, you got plenty of Republicans on that list as well. And these are all, these people are what's wrong with the government. They're the shadow government. They're the establishment, the rhinos, the warmongers, whatever you want to refer to them as.
Yep.
It's a club. Trump was in it. He's out of it now, and they're scared he's going to open the fucking doors.
Yep. I always remember thinking like back, in like high school and shit like that, whenever, people would talk about like, some sort of conspiracy or something like it was, I was in like middle school and shit back when the 9/11 was an inside job, was first starting to come out, but, I always remember thinking like, dude, like if we ever had like, all the knowledge of what, goes on within our government, like there'd probably be mass fucking rioting in the streets, like fucking the nation would completely collapse. Like we wouldn't be able to handle shit like that, if we had all the government secrets just laid out, like, for the public to see and shit. And it's almost like it's true. Like we're getting the fucking soft servant of it right now. Like, could you imagine if we knew everything? Like fucking if say if the nation were to actually collapse and fucking, we were to just go raid the fucking archives or some shit like that and just release everything to the public. Like, could you imagine what kind of shit would get, released? Like what kind of fucking horrible fucking shit we've done, throughout history.
Yeah, I'm sure we'd find some pretty amazing, creepy shit, horror show, but you'd still have a large portion of the populace that would explain it away, and that's not real. Your conspiracy theorists, ideological subversion, put the proof in front of them, cognitive dissonance kicks in. But, I believe that a lot of it's been destroyed already. We'll probably never know the true extent. Just like, we just found out the January 6th committee shit. They just happened to destroy all the files and videos. You know what I mean?
Right.
What was the reason behind that? And I believe that it happens on a regular basis, really.
Oh yeah. Yep. I mean that. I don't know. Fucking the whole January 6th committee. That thing was such a sham. Like, obviously it's in their best interest to fucking destroy everything from that fucking entire fucking committee. Like you don't want, because that they had a confirmation bias, like a hardcore confirmation bias during the entire thing. So that there's a lot of shit that was either said in testimonies or said behind closed doors, or shit that would exonerate Trump and shit like that they don't want getting out there. That's the whole reason that they fucking destroyed all their notes and everything.
But it's madness. Millions of dollars, thousands of man hours. You know what I mean? And it was so important that they had to bring it to the public, but then they destroy it before you can see it. And and then you have Jack Smith trying to petition the court to seal all the filings on Trump in the case. I mean, they don't want you to know what's actually happening. You know what I'm saying? And as far as like the impeachments, like, I mean, we know that he was impeached at least one of the times for exactly what Joe Biden's did, and all he did was ask about it, man.
Right.
I mean, fuck.
And we all know how that inquiry has snowballed since then. Like we reported on in last week's live stream. Basically the entire fucking quid pro quo that Trump was impeached of is literally fucking proven with fucking bank fucking records and everything that is actually Joe Biden and fucking Hunter Biden doing all the fucking quid pro quoing that there could be in fucking corrupt fucking Ukrainian nation, and it's like you said, the whole Saul Alinsky thing. They just accuse their enemies of what they're doing, and they accuse their enemies of what they're doing to the point where they actually impeach the man over what the fuck they're over inquiring what they were fucking doing. You know what I mean? And like Joe Biden says to I'm pretty sure it's fucking Zelensky, but he's basically like, we want to make sure that when Trump's in there, that he doesn't do any sort of deals with Ukraine, because then he might look into some of the previous stuff that we've done. So basically, while Trump's in office, all funding, everything is basically just put on hold until basically someone that's solid gets back into office, as Joe Biden would put it.
Yeah, all the way down to shutting down banks and crazy shit, man. And again, though, you still got a portion of the population that, regardless, they're too easily goaded. If it comes on the MSM, it's scripture, and they're going to tell you that Trump's the devil till the end. I mean, I believe regardless of what comes out of Congress, any investigations, that's the way it will be.
Yep. I really do kind of think of a lot of the ways that people rationalize a lot of the shit that we do in America, or just the way people rationalize their own political opinions and stuff like that. Because we'll sit there and tell these fucking commies dead ass all day that they're fucking wrong. Point fact after fact after fact, fucking historic fucking evidence, all this shit, and they'll still just. Yeah, it's just we just haven't had the right person yet. They'll still just with the same old lines and shit. But people are justified in some weird fucking shit. Yeah, the whole fucking neocon justification of just America being the world's boot, the world police, that's I don't know, that's something I do kind of wrestle with every here and there. That is something I'll admit. American life is pretty damn fucking easy when you really think about it, and the whole reason for that is because of that. It's because we are the world boot, because we are the fucking bad guy, and like, I don't know, personally, like I say, I don't give a shit. I don't want us to fucking be that person. I want the rest of the world to have their own sovereignty. I want us to fucking be America first. I don't give a shit, about everybody else. Trade with everybody, political entanglements with none, That's the way I personally think America should be. But
if we were going to get entangled, you'd think it would be, on our own continents. You know what I'm saying? I mean, North and South America, right? And you think that we'd be number one trade partners. You'd think if we were going to get into some shit, it wouldn't be thousands of miles away. It would be the war zone, just below our border. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it would be a much wiser move to incorporate Mexico into the economy rather than China.
Yep.
It would benefit countries, cut down on costs. I mean, you could just go, deep into that if you wanted to. But, of course, it's not about logic at this point. It's about what lines these people's pockets and what plays out as the best political theater and what keeps the grift going. And that's all these people have is fear mongering, projection, and warmongering.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And of course, the fear mongering you see kicking up. They're talking about, should we be wearing masks because there's a COVID uptick in California? Like, fuck, dude, they found the Black Plague and typhoid fever in California. You know what I'm saying? Fuck, it's a suspect, right? They give their fucking citizens apps so they know where not to step into human shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's big problems, man. And you see now with these wildfires in California, or I'm sorry, Hawaii, they just keep pressing that. Now it's global emergencies. Everything they lean on Biden to try declare an emergency for this, declare an emergency for that, and all it is to re-usurp those COVID-19 powers because it's a goddamn election cycle and they can wield power like a bludgeon. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's really what drives the entire left wing is emotions. They're all just bleeding hearts and shit like that. And so that's why constantly it's like you said, Hawaii catches on fire, lots of people die and shit, and it's global warming, everybody. The whole never let a tragedy go to waste it's really prevalent in our government, on both sides, but don't forget, we still got the people on the right over here still like, it's the Jewish space lasers.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does suck. It is a tragedy, man. Your heart goes out, right? But at the same time, I think the numbers now are about at 63 confirmed deaths. And again, fucking terrible, dude. You would never want that to happen to your own family, yada, right? But that's not reasoning to, put lockdown restrictions on fucking 350 million people, man.
Yep.
I mean, right? And I mean, you see like with, the jabs, right? The C-1984, they could release data on tens of thousands of associated deaths, but they'll still try to force that on you. But 63 people die on an island fire, and we got to destroy the fucking country and the economy again. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
right
ridiculousness.
And that's really kind of the way that our government operates with everything. It's fucking Like, oh, an island catches on fire. Let's fucking destroy all the cops and destroy the crops and fucking kill a couple cows. It really is, kind of like the way that we used to be in primitive days. Like there's a drought. Let's sacrifice a couple of virgins and maybe fucking the rains will come. Like it's really that same fucking thinking. Like those same fucking mindsets. That it's still the same shit. We're just more advanced with it now.
Right. It's not even just us. It's the West as a whole.
Right.
You see Ireland just announced they're slaughtered or slaughtering 200,000 cows for climate changes.
Yep.
Scotland just so that they cut down 16 million trees to install a wind farm for climate changes. What's the best cure for climate change? More fucking greenery, trees, oxygen. You know what I'm saying? The things that absorb the CO2, man.
Right.
But fucking high intellect clown world, bro.
Yep. Shit, fucking, my lady was asking me the other day about with climate change, and I was kind of explaining to her like the whole thing, like they play on emotions and shit. Every summer, they'll use the fucking high heat and shit that comes every summer to basically get people to open up their wallets and shit like that, and donate to all these fucking wildlife preservation funds and fucking all this and that, and these nonprofits and all this bullshit, and then they just collect all the money and and that's it, and then fucking she asked me, she's like, well, what's the end game? Like after they get the money, what are they gonna do with it? I'm like, that is the fucking end game. I mean, what do you mean? Money is the end game. Like that's it. You gave us the money and that's it. Cool. Thanks. Like
What's happening, and it's gonna make the weather better, right?
Right.
And speaking of which, if you've seen, Katie Hobbs just declared an emergency here in Arizona for climate change because of the heat wave, man. It's always state governors that put the leftist fucking drivel into motion before the president fucking signs off on it.
Right.
And apparently we're going to be a test state for the climate emergencies.
Good times. I wonder what that's going to mean.
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to start limiting on when you can run your AC, and no more water and food outside, or any kind of grass or anything like that until wintertime. I'm sure it's going to get ridiculous. I mean, that's what happens when your fucking state puts a lunatic leftist in charge of her own election. And
right, who literally has fucking strings running to her hands and feet that are connected to California. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Who's connected to George Soros? Who's connected to
right?
It's huge puppeteer fucking change.
I honestly feel like the Democrats do feel that there's going to be like maybe a national divorce, or maybe America basically divide and shit. Basically it's going to be more regional and shit. And so I think they are trying to absorb Arizona into their leftist basically region. They're trying to get the whole Southwest. They already have a New Mexico and California. Those are deep blue already. Oregon, Washington, of course, the entire West Coast for the most part. And so I think they're trying to get Arizona so that way they have a whole fucking deep blue fucking crew or whatever the fuck. But at the same time, the way that they're doing it, is with fucking cheating. When it comes to the fucking Arizona elections, fucking straight up, that shit was some bullshit. Is fucking blatant fucking bullshit. Katie Hobbs ran the entire fucking thing. That's like I say, every time I get started on Katie Hobbs, I go into a big old rant and shit. But basically the whole thing is I think they want to get Arizona as blue as they can at any cost. But of course the people, that's the problem. Is I don't think we actually want all that shit here. Even in some blue fucking cities like Tucson and shit, I still see a lot of fucking Trump support and shit. I do still see the Biden Harris stickers on people's cars and shit, but that's mostly around like downtown and shit like that.
But then we also elected a Democrat mayor, and and places filling up with Californians, every day.
Right.
Someone from California, literally almost on an hour-to-hour basis. Maricopa County now is one of the top 3 most populated counties in the country.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And if you look at the electoral map, it's basically only your country of left that's a conglomerate of deep red. And actually, New Mexico that you spoke on is voted one of the top states that could flip red, top blue states that could possibly flip red.
Yeah.
But Texas is on its way to turning fucking purple.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's it's a hot mess, and I think if there was like a national divorce, everything is going to be fucked. I mean, for the obvious reasons, but then like I was just saying, it's the interior of the country that's mostly red, and the coasts. So I mean, all your shipments, ordering, I mean, manufacturing stuff like that is going to take a massive hit as far as price and regulations because those leftist coasts are going to regulate the shit out of you to try to exercise power and shut your ass down. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's why we got to make sure that we maintain our connection to Mexico.
Mexico, in a lot of ways, it seems like they're kind of moving to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And, especially even like on education, I know that the left here in America loves to claim that they're the most educated of, the political paradigms. But, they're educating more students. But like we spoke on before, they're graduating more engineers and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like more, I mean, like blue collar workers and shit that have stuff rather than, lesbian dance theory and, fucking poetry and what.
Fucking skilled laborers rather than mental gymnasts.
Yeah. So if and then you can just like, for instance, if Mexico starts moving to the right, you will definitely see a shift in the rhetoric of the left as far as letting the borders be open because they're like Cuba. They don't want more Cubans because Cubans now tend to vote Republican.
Right.
So that's why it's right now it's Mexico.
That's the same reason they're trying to. Didn't Joe Biden try to block specifically Venezuelans from coming in?
Yeah, and Cubans and yeah. It was like
basically if you're fleeing communism, you're not allowed here. Everybody else, come on in though.
If you got to build a trash raft to escape fucking Stalin, fuck off. But if you can just walk over, discard your ID, grab an Obama phone with the fuck Fast Pass app, welcome home, son.
Right.
Free education, childcare, yeah.
Yep. I guess on the plus side, we do have people like Eric Adams kind of turning a new leaf when it comes to immigration and things such as sanctuary cities now, right? He's over here basically, he's almost on the verge of basically begging the Biden fucking administration to just please close the border. Please close the border. Just please fucking appease fucking Greg Abbott so he could stop sending these motherfuckers. Just close the border.
Right. You got to say it though. Like I was just saying, he's pressing Biden to declare an emergency, dude.
Right.
Always we got to declare an emergency so we can use emergency powers.
Yeah.
It's just sign a bill and do what's right. It's declare an emergency and fucking do what you want. You know what I mean?
Yep. I don't know. That's what I say. I don't think the nation could survive, very many more years of this. I think, we probably will. We'll probably fucking get through the next election. It's probably going to be some absolute bullshit. I'll give you that, though. I'm telling you, fucking, I don't think anybody's going to be happy with the results. But I think we're probably fucking just grit our teeth and fucking get through it for another couple more years. I don't think the nation's probably going to collapse within by the next election. Like Bongino says, it hasn't gotten bad enough yet. I honestly, don't think it's still gotten bad enough yet. I mean, and that's saying a lot because we're in a really bad place right now. So bad that even foreign nations are looking like, and that America they fucking up right now. They're a straight up banana republic over there. But still, that's because they're fucking aware. A lot of the people here still are not aware of what the fuck is happening in their own country.
Yeah, man. And I believe that it's it really depends on what happens over the next 2 years, as far as that's concerned, what's going to happen with the country, the election and whatnot, if we can withstand. But, I do believe that we're currently living in, a police state. And it's pretty obvious, especially when, decrepit 300-pound, half crippled fucking men get smoked for posting, threats on Biden, rhetorical threats. But yeah, fucking Trump making videos and what have you, with holding heads and shooting them and on and everything's okay. When was the last time an actor fucking, killed, assassinated the president. I mean, you've heard it all.
Yep.
And but but I do believe that the republic is on the deathbed, man. And I think it can be turned around, but it's a real tiny window that's left, man. It's like a hockey team where your core players are all in their mid-30s, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? Window's closing real fucking fast.
Right. America's definitely on his deathbed, but that's why I say fucking we're gonna get slow drips of life support, over the next couple of years. That's why I say it's gonna be a frog in the pot type thing. They're gonna try and drag this out as long as they can. They're gonna try and keep the people from fucking basically going ballistic as long as they can. So I think they're gonna try and just do these little small, wins here and there, but they're slowly, I think, gonna try and inch us back toward the establishment.
Yeah, of course. I mean that's why you did see establishment large donors throwing money at DeSantis, man, and DeSantis kind of, even though he was running to the right of Trump, it was more of that liberal righty. You know what I mean? That's like, we can still be the police of the world and warmonger and shit, but I don't like abortion. I don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's fuck, and just like Pence. I mean, obviously between Tucker and Pence's own words, he's done ruined his political career. But similar situation. He's going to be like a Jeb Bush character.
Right.
You know what I mean? They want to move us back to the establishment so bad, man.
Yep. And I don't know. That's why I say if I can, I do kind of question, my I guess view on things as compared to the other side, because like I was saying earlier, I'm totally against fucking America being the world boot and shit. But life's been pretty damn nice. I do gotta say, it has been pretty damn nice being an empire.
But just think, how much nicer it would have been if your dollar wasn't devalued, like 38% over the past 2 decades.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's just, countless fucking dollars just burned away, 20 years of war, so on and so forth, man.
Yeah, and that's really just you can't centralize power. You cannot. And really, when it comes down to it, you really got to break power down even more. Like fucking shit. Fucking the federal government should have nothing to do with fucking making laws and shit. That shit should come down to the states. The federal government should just be about fucking making sure that the country's safe and fucking we got what we need and shit like that. When it comes to fucking laws and
some landowners, shit like that.
Right. When it comes down to laws, as to culture, shit like that should be purely on a state level. That should, fucking if DeSantis wants to, fucking ban whatever he wants, and do whatever he's doing in Florida, cool, more power to him. We'll watch from over here. We'll see how it goes. If it goes good, we'll probably adopt those same type of measures. If it goes bad, we're probably not going to do that. We'll probably go a different way, because a lot of times, like that's my whole thing against DeSantis is this whole war on the woke and shit. And a lot of times, the more you push on something, the more popular it becomes, and like we're seeing with the kids and with the youths and shit right now, woke is dying organically. Nobody likes that shit. Not a single motherfucker out there that's I'm all for woke. That's really kind of in the youth, I guess. That's a young male right now. So basically, the whole woke shit is dying on its own. And the more you try to rail against it, the more popular it's going to become. It's kind of a weird balance when it comes to regulation and shit,
Yeah. And, I think that the federal government should be there basically to protect the borders and the Constitution. And then, and the states, like you said, are there for the everyday interaction laws, stuff like that. But, it's I don't know. I don't know if it can be saved as far as just regular legislation is concerned. I mean, because we kind of disregarded the structure of the government. Most people don't even realize, the meaning of our American civics at this point. Like, for instance, the Senate wasn't supposed to be elected. It's supposed to be more of a slow, moving snail of an entity that goes, puts more thought into the process between original, bill, like legislation, to the final signing between the president. You know what I mean? And that's gone. And it's basically become not only cult of personality, but put on the show like the war, like you just said, the war against woke. I mean, don't get me wrong. I believe DeSantis believes in a lot of what he says and the bills he signed and whatnot. But at the same time, it's show, man.
Yep.
I mean, what really gained by a lot of that shit that he's put into place or speaks on a regular basis up until recently, because
Right.
now he's kind of changing his trajectory or whatever, trying to. He's kind of fucked at this point. He's just about slipped to third. But it's no one understands civics anymore. Is the basis of that, man.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, the way I like
And
to.
even us, like Trumpsicles. I mean, I want to vote for the guy because it's almost like a thriving on emotion as well. Because I want to see him smack people, take revenge, fire. But in reality, he's not going to get a lot done because even coming in, you're going to have the same people standing in his way on both sides of the fucking political aisle.
Right. If Trump doesn't get the primary or if he's locked up or whatever, would you vote for Trump as a write-in?
I would definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I said there's nobody else running at this moment that I believe in.
Right.
JFK, like same thing. It's a show. He comes out here and agrees on very little with us, but he just keeps expounding on those couple things. When in reality, he's a complete fucking leftist dude. He's just he's a kook too. Doesn't believe in freedom. And on the right, dude, DeSantis, dude, 28, he would have had my vote, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? But just the tactics, the antics, and the disloyalty and the distancing from himself from the person that he admitted himself got him elected. I can't vote for the guy now, man. I just cannot do it, dude. And who else are you going to vote for after that? Vivek would be great, but I hate to use the term because people always say people can't win because you don't fucking vote for them, right?
Yeah.
But I just don't see him winning a national election, even if he won the primary.
Right. Dude, like personally, I'd love to see Vivek as vice president because for one, like you say, next to Trump, when it comes to rhetoric and his ideas and shit like that, he's second best out there. Fucking definitely fucking way better than fucking Chris Christie or fucking DeSantis, any of those motherfuckers. But again, that there's the whole thing is for one, he's from Big Pharma, that's his background and shit. He developed medicines and shit. He's rubbed elbows with fucking Big Pharma and shit like that. Even if, he, of course, he's not going to try and, promote his own fucking shit and try and fucking drug the world. Still, he's got those friends in those high pharmaceutical places, And so,
yeah,
that's not really somebody that we want running the country, at least anymore. We've had enough of that, But then again, that's also Trump. He's still fucking I'm the father of the vaccine, like he'll tote that till the day he dies,
Well, I mean, he's almost 80. You know what I'm saying? I mean, regardless of his persona. I mean, 80 how many 80-year-olds have you known? And they're pearl clutchers, man. And suppose Trump is a germaphobe, and so I'm sure to that type of crowd, a vaccine is that's wonder drugs, man. You know what I mean? That's like saving people from malarias.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
if Trump,
they can't. In an era where vaccines actually did save millions of fucking lives.
Right. It was fucking breakthrough technology that actually did, it saved a lot of fucking people, So, I mean, of course, I get it, like I say, a lot of these older people and shit, because, with the work that we do and shit, I'm in a lot of elderly people's houses and shit, and I still see them. They're fucking Democrat till the day they die, And they still, they just still believe that it's still the same politics of their era, That's just they're stuck in their old ways, and they're even stuck in their old politics, and they still believe that it's still the Democrat Party of the fucking 60s.
And I have people that are older, and they say they vote Democrat. They're like, well, my dad voted Democrat, and their dad voted Democrat. Like that's the reasoning behind it. It's not because of any kind of policy or anything that they can actually touch on. In particular, it's just like that's just the way it is.
And when you really think about it, that almost kind of is the way that it should be. We shouldn't have this type of fucking corruption. We should be able to fucking trust our people. We should be able to trust the people, in power and shit. We should, really fucking, we should be able to focus on our jobs. We should be able to focus on our careers. We should be able to focus on our professions, what we want to do in life, Politicians, we literally elect them to be are trustworthy representatives of ourselves. It's just gotten so far beyond that because of the fact that people haven't been paying attention, or people have been labeled conspiracy theorists. That whole conspiracy theorist fucking word that came out after the JFK assassination, that's basically what is shut down those voices that have basically been out there to tell people like, hey, something's wrong. They basically, anytime somebody says something's wrong with the government, conspiracy theorists, and then basically everybody just kind of shuns you. And that's basically what's really fucked up society, is basically those people were watching out for us. Those people have always been watching out for us. The Alex Joneses and shit, they've they've had our back since day one, and they've just been fucking demonized and shit. And really, it's just all to cover up the corruption. They basically silenced the fucking watchdogs, and now they're just running amok. And that's basically what the problem is. We shouldn't have to fucking be this focused on politics. This shouldn't have to be this big a part of our lives. We should be able to fucking trust people that we elect to do the right thing. It shouldn't have came to this point. That's the whole problem.
There's not enough. I mean, obviously, like you're saying, people aren't paying attention, but there's not enough repercussions and retribution, dude, for fucking the acts that these people commit, man.
Right.
And you hate to go to Barbary, right? But sometimes it's called for, strong men, right? And it's we're built off of based off of the Greek Republic, form of government, and they had ways of dealing with this type of shit. And I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to get to that point. I mean, we can substitute, right? But something has to be done. Has to be some type of retribution doled out. And you can't trust these people because they know that no one's going to do shit. All they have to do is put on a good enough show for you to vote, and then that's it. They can do what the fuck they want to do.
Yep.
And I feel you to an extent as how you're saying we shouldn't be this involved in our lives. But then again, at the same time, not being vigilant leads exactly back to the same shit over again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the things two of the things that have fucked up, civics across the country is the previous generations, the whole tendency to vote for the lesser of two evils. And then, you always hear the saying like, my age, or, I was taught, you don't speak on religion or politics.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, those are things that need to be spoken of.
Yep.
And they're much more impactful and important than, well, what did you do today? Well, what'd you have for dinner last night? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And then, or everyone else's fucking favorite fucking subject, other fucking people, gossip, all that fucking dumb shit. Like really fucking religion, politics, ideas in general is what we should be talking about.
Yeah, and especially religion goes hand in hand with philosophy and reality, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it really does. That's another subject that should be spoken of more often. And we'd probably be amazed at the difference if we were teaching and speaking on that rather than the woke bullshit that is going through our education system now on the quality of people that would be being churned out versus
Yeah, I like to do my little timeline like this is how religion is downwind of philosophy, to politics, to everything basically. So basically the way that it starts out is fear. People are afraid. Early primitive humans, they're afraid of everything, right? Because we're not fucking top of the food chain by a long shot. I mean, imagine the type of trauma that your brain would go through as you watch your fucking 1-year-old child getting ripped apart by fucking saber-toothed tiger. Like you just have to sit back and watch it. Like imagine what kind of shit would go through your fucking brain at that stage. Because if a lot of the fucking archaeologists and shit have really kind of looked, and we've had the same size brain for quite some time. And so really fucking early religion and shit, we basically had, maybe of course not the same intellectual powers that we do now, but similar as on the wave of empathy and shit like that. So basically that's what kind of was the start of religion. It's basically with the whole idea of paganism and shit like that, it was basically we were trying to basically learn about nature and shit, and learn about, what you shouldn't do and what's good for you and what is bad for you, and basically, the type of shit that would give you life, like water and the foods and shit like that, and the air, the sun, all that shit. That's why we started worshiping all that shit, because that was the most important shit in our world. And so basically that, of course, as we know, evolved into basically philosophy. Religion, basically turned into philosophy, right? And then so from philosophy, that is basically turned into psychology. From psychology, psychology, basically learning about ourselves and our brains and shit like that, and how we think. And that's basically the point that we first realized that we all kind of think the same. We all have similar thought processes. And then so from psychology came
MK Ultra and mind control.
right. Right. Yeah, then downwind from fucking psychology, that's when we came up with sociology, and fucking basically all the type of shit that we have now, where basically how societies are naturally ordered and shit. And basically from studying sociology, that's when shit really kind of is taking a dark turn. That's basically from studying sociology. That's really, it's kind of studying how to dominate the fucking population, how to dominate people, how to maintain social order, social cohesion, and forced order. And it's basically where, from sociology, that's where fucking shit started turning into fucking Hitlers and all that shit.
Yeah. And it's just into a mind virus, man. You know what I mean? Now we can't look at anything without associating our own delusion with it. I mean, you read articles every day. I just read one where a medieval Viking maiden was found, right? And she was there was a male sword, and she had a male's overcoat. And they're like, it's because it's Chinese,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? No,
Right.
that's and of course, real historians go on to explain, like, she that was the honor of her husband. Like, obviously, her husband died before her, so she was buried with his overcoat and his sword. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of
It's
common.
it's a tranny.
Yeah,
Oh
fuck,
god.
found always, man.
Right.
And the museum that's in charge of keeping this relic ship, this ancient ship from the 1600s, in invisible, facade or whatever. And now they've had to gay it up, bro. Now they've gone on with stories. They've made these elaborate stories in their head, like they found a wedding ring on the ship, and they're like, the shipmen were only tended to be males, so this means that there was gay marriage, and you know what I'm saying? I mean, just dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Fucking,
completely off the.
like I said, dude, degrees in mental gymnastics, man.
Yeah.
Fucking mental gymnastics World Cup. All right. Fucking, so let's get back to fucking I want to talk a bit about holding our politicians accountable. So you remember like a couple months back, I put out that video that that idea that I had about basically a social credit score, but essentially, rather than for society, only use it for your politicians. Basically, people that we grant power to. Basically, people that we vote for, or people that are granted power within our local communities to basically use force upon the community in order to maintain social order, right? So we know that we're not going to have a society without fucking police, without fucking governments, without any of that. That's all fucking naive fairy tale shit. Fucking anarchist society. It's not real. Sorry to burst you guys' bubble. It's right. We're never going to go back to fucking primitive fucking so this is the family farm. I trade with the neighbor, and everybody. We're not going to go back to that. That's not real. And so basically, we need a way to hold these people accountable, because as we've basically been pointing out, and as we see right now, holding these people accountable is like pulling teeth, literally. Like fucking, it's literally like fucking. Oh, who's gonna fucking be appointed to go ahead and prosecute the boss? Like that. It's difficult. So basically, the way that we need to do it is the people need to be able to hold the politicians accountable. And so that's why I say an idea like a social credit score. Like if you guys have ever seen Black Mirror, the whole social credit score. Like, oh, when you pass somebody in society, like, oh, when you rate that person, that's a cool person. Basically the same type of thing would apply whenever your local congressman or fucking, a local police officer shoots a fucking, kid riding a bike that looked like he might have had a fucking gun because he was holding a candy bar. Whenever that type of shit happens, you can vote. It basically, whether you approve of these person's actions or whether you disapprove of these person's actions, and basically it's almost like a real time, approval, disapproval score. But I mean, of course, it would go from politicians all the way down to, police officers, school teachers, even, all that type shit. Basically, anybody that has, that collects fucking government funds and is basically granted power over society in any way, should be, able to be held accountable. And so basically the whole idea would be that those scores or those approval ratings actually have impacts on how much power they're granted. So basically, if you vote for a congressperson and then they just start, acting like a complete piece of shit and, start acting within their own self-interest or whatever, you can limit that person's vote that they have. You could, cut their vote in half. Like, yeah, you won the election, so basically you still get a vote, but your people get half of your vote. Your constituency gets half of your vote or whatever. And if they don't approve of what you're voting yes on, they could vote no on it, and in which case it basically kind of nullifies your vote. So essentially, it would be kind of a bit more of a direct democracy type thing, which is, again, not exactly a good thing, because it does imply a lot of mob rule, mob mentality, shit like that. It's gonna have basically it'd be almost like fucking a ratio system in Twitter. Like fucking people are gonna be dogpiling and shit like that. Social influencers are gonna be basically the people that actually control what, how society is run and shit like that. That's the really, it could devolve into something like that, to where basically the social influencers, the unelected social influencers who people just think are cool or whatever, or who big tech happens to promote more than other people or whatever. Those are the people that are basically gonna, have all the influence in society and shit.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. Fuck, pretty elaborate, man. And at the same time, like you said, that you could see it devolve pretty easily. As far as ratioing and whatnot, right? And I think that a lot of Congress would have zero fucking power. Not that that's a bad thing, okay? But a lot of shit. There's a good possibility there's a lot that wouldn't get done. Just for the simple fact that Congress usually carries a pretty low approval rating. They just keep getting reelected. You know what I mean? Right. The average Congress, approval rating is something like 30% or some 28 to 30%, I believe. So I mean, fuck, every congressman would have a half vote. But I definitely like the idea of your constituency getting the other half a vote and being able to almost void, fucking, the reckless congressman's vote out. That's pretty good, man.
Right.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a cool idea. Of course, yeah, that's why I like to discuss it, so that way I could kind of point out all the negative parts of it. When it comes to things like police officers and shit like that, of course that's gonna need to be on a different sort of algorithm. Because of course they're gonna fucking be voted down constantly. But at the same time, they should be rewarded for some of the good shit that they do. That's really kind of the problem is with news and the way that our society is. We feed off a tragedy. We don't ever see when it doesn't get reported on the news when a fucking police officer fucking saves a child from a fucking car wreck or something like that. That never gets reported. That's not interesting to fucking put on the news. But what is interesting is whenever they do bad shit or whenever fucking shit goes wrong. So basically that would kind of put the police officers ranking system also on a sort of merit-based system. Basically you got to go out there and do good deeds, so that way people see that this is a good fucking guy. This guy fucking he's solid. He's not out here fucking trying to abuse his power. He's not out here fucking trying to just illegally search people or do this bad shit. He's out here actually doing his job. He's serving the public the way that he should be. Those type of people should be commended, and really those type of people are kind of kicked back, because like, oh, why are you being such a goody two shoes, like gonna snitch on us? The whole fucking blue line, the blue shield fucking people, like that's a bad thing. That's not good. Like all these people with the fucking blue line stickers on their car, I get it, like you support, rule of law and shit like that, but doesn't mean you have to support the police themselves. I mean, like I said, if you just look up any video of a police officer getting pulled over, it's usually fucking like, oh, sorry, I don't want to have to write this, but with all the cameras, I can't do anything. Like, my hands are tied now. That's basically just shows that, before these body cams and all this shit, police were never held accountable for anything because of that sort of brotherhood. And that's basically why I say, if you're not in that brotherhood, if you're not part of that, if you're not willing to look the other way for your fellow police officers, then you're never going to make it anywhere. You're going to be fucking writing tickets and you're going to be a meter maid for your entire life, when really you should be fucking chief of police, motherfucker, And that's why I say really it kind of needs to be on another algorithm type mode to where basically you're getting rewarded for your good deeds. And whenever shit goes down in the public and fucking people, see like, oh, this dude's fucking abusing his power, they could vote your ass down to meter maid, or if they see that, like, oh, this person's been found guilty of taking bribes and shit, they could vote your ass down to meter maid,
Yeah. Yeah. Like you're saying, when they do good deeds, man, it's like, say, social media, for instance, it's posted on there, but then it's posted to sites like propaganda and shit post. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's almost, made fun of, or, finally they do one good thing, some shit like that. But with the app thing, like you're saying about the algorithm, that one would be, I think, a little more difficult because you want to have the person that interacted with the police. That's the main person whose vote you want to get, right? To
right?
see how they sprayed the officer's interaction. But
Well,
at the same time, you want the public around to be able to do it too. Like if you witness some shit, and say the person that they had interaction, they're going to downvote like the police was rough. Then if I witnessed it, I saw that the dude was resisting or what have you, it'd be, you'd vote too or whatever.
well, that's the other thing too, is, man, fucking these cops nowadays, they walk around with more cameras on them than a motherfucking Tesla, Like they got cameras, they should at least have cameras watching every single fucking angle around them. And we should have access to those cameras like that at an instant, Basically we'd have people literally just fucking sitting online, pretty much riding around with the police officers because, I'm bored. I just feel like watching some cops do their work all day long. And then I'm just going to fucking rate them on how good of a job they do. Like, people will do that shit. I'd fucking do that shit,
Yeah. I'm sure there'd be tons of clips of it all over the inner zones, man,
Oh yeah.
But, I think it should be a felony if they turn it off.
Oh yeah.
Like if you turn off fucking your cam or something, dude, felonies for you, Bobby.
Yep.
And they should also be on like a sensor because obviously they're still regular people, dude. They need personal time too.
Right.
So like if they're in a vehicle or in a shitter, something like that, it's like a sensor of some type that shuts them off for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's basically if they step out of their cruiser, it turns on.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah. Shit. That's for sure, man. But like I said, all this type of stuff could be, implemented all the way down and shit. It's we have to do it. A lot of this fucking technology already exists. There's a lot of fucking smart people out there that are capable of designing these apps and these fucking algorithms and shit like that. We could do it, and it could start out just as a little fun little app that you could download on your phone. Hey, rate your congressman. Hey, rate your local police officers. And then next thing you know, fucking people start getting into it, and people start seeing like, oh shit, like, oh damn, fucking that cop's actually pulled over 10 motherfucking people and wrote bullshit ass tickets all fucking week. Like, yeah, that dude's a fucking asshole. People start getting into it over time, and then it'll start turning into something more real. And basically, with the with the whole movement going on right now, it's basically you ain't getting elected if you're not down for fucking limiting government's power. Like, you're not gonna get elected if you're not willing to get elected and limit your own power. And that's really the way that it should be. That's the way that it needs to be right now, because government really needs to be cut down, a couple pegs, to be honest. They really need to come back to the realization that you work for us. It's not the other way around. We're citizens of the United States. We're not subjects of the United States. You are fucking servants of the public. And it really does need to be like hard hitting, hammered home. That point needs to be hammered home, like almost to the point to where basically, yes, the people should have authoritarian rule over those in power, because they technically have legal authoritarian rule over us,
And it sucks though because you have to rely on those same people to pass these laws.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I know, you know, like they're completely entrenched. I mean, as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong, but the only people in power I know of that have introduced bills to limit their own power is Rand Paul and Ted Cruz. You know what I mean? And both those bills were completely, you know, disregarded or obliterated by votes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it would be in a similar situation. I mean, you're relying on these same people to vote to limit their own fucking power, man. And that's, you know, pretty rare. And basically, we'd have to, you know, wait till the vast majority of everyone in power at this time. Unfortunately, that probably includes the two that already introduced those bills to die off, man. I'm
Right.
not even playing. You see, like Feinstein, she's 90 years old. She can't even function. It's like a puppet. They raise her hand and stuff. You know what I mean? And and bro, it's, you know, she's still there, man. Still there casting votes, bro.
Yeah. But really, fucking Rand Paul's that type of mentality should be the only type of mentality that is allowed in politics. Like basically, if it could really kind of breed an entire new sort of a mentality when it comes to our politicians and shit. Because basically, like I say, you're not going to get elected if you're really just doing it for selfish reasons. If you're doing it because you want power, if you're doing it because you want to have control, if you're basically the whole, as the whole adage goes, the person who wants the power the most should be the last person to have it. It's
Completely agree. But, you know, at the same time, dude, you have a large population that's going to be like, that's fascism's, dude. It's freedom, limited government, and fucking, you know, war. That's definitely racism.
right. And that's why I say it really is going to basically be more of a way of a direct democracy. Basically the more people have when it comes to basically keeping their congressman or their representative on a tight leash and shit, it is going to be more representative of the people, of the will of the people. At the same time too, the people can also be held accountable for their votes, because that shit is basically, it's on an app, that's data that's in the cloud now. I could fucking, we could look back and fucking, see like, oh, okay, well, oh, you're over here fucking fleeing California and shit, while according to your fucking records, you voted Democrat for the last fucking 10 years in a row. So that's kind of your own fault, motherfucker. And basically, people need to be held accountable for their own stupid votes as well. All these fucking people that are peeling off their fucking Biden Harris stickers and shit. Like, no. Keep that bitch on. Keep that motherfucker on as a daily reminder of how fucking stupid your ass was. How stupid you fucking voted. Like, no, don't peel it off. Fucking matter of fact, you should get that tattooed on you, motherfucker. Like,
As far as that's concerned, though, like you're talking about like a democracy, dude. If you're in a democracy, you and I lose every fucking time, man.
right. Well,
Hillary would have been president, and you know, I mean, you just keep going with that, man. And,
but that's why I say it'd still be a representative, democracy. It's not like we would be able to vote on fucking how AOC votes. We'd only be able to vote on what Siscomani has to say, because he's our representative. We don't get to it's still representative and shit like that. It'd still be it's not like we'd get to vote on the police officers in California or fucking Las Vegas and shit. We'd only be able to vote on the police officers within our neighborhood.
But then at that point, you'd have to restructure like our whole government for the simple fact that the way it's based is representative, right? Republic style, dude, where obviously population dictates how many reps that state gets, and the coasts and the liberal areas populations far outweigh everywhere else. That's where the majority of the population is. And no matter how bad it gets, you see California, you see New York, $9 billion in immigrant costs right now, and they're still going to keep voting fucking Democrat, man. It's like the blacks.
Right.
The blacks, they voted Democrat for the past 50 some years. They're fucking, if anything, their quality of life has gone fucking down. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, but I don't know, man. Fucking, like I say, it would be kind of cool to have a more power over your fucking representatives and shit, But
it would.
Fucking, like I say, it's still an idea in the making, but it'd be something a lot more, and really, we kind of do need to restructure government in the first place. We really kind of already need that,
I mean, it's only because of what we let it become. I mean, our original system is a system of checks and balances,
Yep.
and now it's to the point where that's just disregarded. I mean, even the Federal Reserve, it's supposed to be only the United States Treasury that deals with the money supply, man. And they completely wash their hands of it, other than can we borrow some more money at a high ass interest rate where it costs fucking, a nickel to make a penny. You know
Right.
what I mean? And that's the repercussions of that right there, man. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Well, I can want to get into some of these other ones. Actually, if I can, a funny one that I just came across. Actually, Native American group threatens the Washington Commanders with boycott over the name change.
Yes. Yes,
They,
that is fucking awesome,
they
man.
they wanted to go back to the Redskins. They originally fucking sued because they were offended that the name was the fucking Redskins, and then now that they fucking changed the name, like, no, 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 we want it to be Redskins again. Now nobody's paying attention to us.
That's great, but at the same time, that could just be what you were saying, dude. The fucking woke dying out organically, man.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Maybe it's just a paradigm flip in the making, dude. Maybe Turley's right, dog.
Yeah.
And I mean, Turley.
Right. I believe he is.
They-
Remember when we first started listening to him? Like it was like right after fucking Biden got elected and shit, dude. We were just the darkest of days,
yeah.
And we were always like, this motherfucker always talking about like a new conservative age is rising, and we were like, yeah, you're full of shit, motherfucker. Like the dude was right, like at least in appearances so far. Like that whole fucking poll with 12th grade boys and shit. They're hardcore fucking Tate conservatives. Like
Yeah.
Yep. Like we really are coming up on a new conservative age is rising. It's I don't know, pretty cool to see, but at the same time, change is usually tumultuous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, unfortunately, I believe, the days of bipartisanship or clean government are pretty much dead, bro, right?
Yep.
We said Republic on its deathbed. Unfortunately, I believe, like you said, we do need to restructure, but again, only because of what we let ourselves devolve into. But like some corporations we've seen come back from the brink did, we could do it. The window's shrinking, but it can be done, man.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. The only thing, like, that's why I say, even if we do kind of go back to the establishment and shit like that, and things do just kind of settle out and shit, a whole big old change doesn't come, and it just kind of goes back to like, oh, all right, well, we're back to Democrats and Republicans and shit. The whole movement and shit at this point, it's like I say, it's not going to be Democrats and Republicans. Even if we do go back to the same old structure and shit like that, basically it's an entirely new. It's going to be an entirely new mindset. When it comes to politics, it's not going to be the politics of your grandpa no more. We're into a whole new world of American politics, and I really do. Like I say, when it comes to everything going on with Trump and fucking Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and all the corruption coming out right now, the weaponization of the DOJ, the weaponization of the FBI, fucking all of this shit. It really is like we say all the time. It's setting legal precedent, and that's where the worry comes in. Is if we can't survive with this sort of legal precedent in place anymore. And so that's where it really does become kind of iffy, because at the same time, if they were to completely go through with all of this already, and then afterward, like after it's all done, just like, all right, oh, okay, guys, they actually, we took it too far. Right? Let's nullify some of that shit. The damage is already done. Well, no, we're not going to accept that. Like, no, like this is what it is now. That's why I say, like, with all the legal precedent setting right now, that's really kind of the scariest part of all of this, is whether or not we can actually come back from that. Or is it going to just be fucking, is politics just going to be lawfare from here forth,
Yeah, and you also got to worry, economically. Is it possible turning it around, man? So obviously they're pushing for the digital currency, right? And at the same time, crashing the dollar, over 30 trillion in debt. You've seen Biden, just doubled the spending deficit for the fiscal year already. Still 2 months left, and projected to add something like fucking 20 trillion in the next 10 years. Um, I don't, and so the rest of the world, obviously, with the BRIC shit going on, all these other nations trying to get involved. You got to wonder: is it possible for us to come back economically? You know what I mean?
Yep. I don't know, man. I don't. It really just kind of depends on the American mindset, you know. Whether a lot of these liberals are going to come into a rude awakening real soon, and it really just depends, you know. It's going to be sink or swim time, you know. And I think a lot of people are going to swim, you know. Like I don't, you know, for how effeminate a lot of these men are, they're still men, you know. And when the going gets rough, and it comes to either dying or you know what, I'm just gonna have to go work fucking 12 hours a day, 7 days a week from here on forth. That's a lot of them are gonna choose that, you know, as opposed to just fucking well, I can't get government fucking help no more, you know, fucking I guess I'll just go fucking on the streets and die. There's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna do that, and there's gonna be a lot of fucking people just fucking woe is me, fucking overdose dead, you know. But still, I think a lot it's gonna take some time, but I think fucking America's gonna economically recover. We're not gonna be back to what we used to be. That's kind of why I was saying, you know, fucking the whole neocon, you know, America keeps its boot on the rest of the world. We're the world police, fucking we're the world fucking reserve bank for, you know, for the most part. We're the world reserve currency. Like, yeah, it was evil. Those are some damn good times, man.
Yeah, fruitful for all of us, man. You know what I mean? The 90s were just out of control out here, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yep. All right, man. Fucking. Well, we're coming up on about an hour 15 now. We did actually get quite a few chats today.
Oh yeah, good deal. You hearing them in real time and shit while you're talking, or what?
Not. I have a learning disables. No, no, I can't pay attention to fucking two things at once, man. I got ADD way too bad. That's when I'll start like, wait, what did you just say again? I completely wasn't. Sorry. Say that one more time. That's going to be me through the entire thing if I'm actually reading the chat the entire time. Unless we're actually doing a moment where we read the chat, which let me go ahead and check some of these out. So we got Dogface in the chat, as usual. How's it going, buddy? And we got Outlaw 520. Logic doesn't work in America. I always said COVID was the test. How cheap are the people to pay off to stay home and do nothing all day? $1,000 a month, and people were happy. That really is true, dude. Fucking, I remember when the whole right after the initial like month of lockdowns and shit during the whole COVID thing, everybody was allowed to soft go back to work, you know. I remember fucking I posted something like, dude, if you stayed home for the last 30 days and you weren't anxious the entire time waiting to get back to work, you should really, really reevaluate your work ethics.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, I saved time, man. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
And I was chefing it up, dude. So you know, my shit was hit pretty hard, closed down for quite a while, and dude, I did whatever I had to do, bro.
yeah, shit,
I've never missed a payment, a bill, nothing. You know
right.
what I mean?
Yep, COVID hit. I got a second job. Shit.
And dude, I didn't get any stimulus, none of that bullshit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So yeah.
Yep. I got mine.
Not me, even though it's federal dollars, you know, that now I'm paying off, you know, with higher tax rates and inflation, yada yada. And they said that this dollars cannot be used for debt. Of course, you know, even though I'm up to date paying child support, they came in and snatched that shit, bro. They were like, freeze monies.
Right.
You know?
Yep. Fucking yep. That's me with the state. I've never once in my entire adult life received state taxes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe.
Always gone to fines my entire life.
Right.
Right.
So before we go, we got to touch on the old Twitter spheres, man. How you feeling
yeah.
about that? This WEF fucking CEO there, you know, she's going to put in, you know, speech laws there, or, you know, speech regulations, and it's basically lawful but awful is the
Right.
term now.
Yep.
And you know, it seems like Elon's free speech absolutionist site is going to devolve right back into fucking censorious fucking Google sister company, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking what is it? Fucking freedom of speech, not freedom of reach. So basically, shadow bans. You know, it's gonna
Yeah, exactly.
gonna go right back to the way it was. You know, to just they're not gonna actually ban you. As she said, it's just gonna be really hard to actually find your posts. Like, yeah, like that's
I thought Elon was supposed to be undoing that web, getting rid of that shit. Remember,
right.
that was supposed to,
And
one of the priorities there.
so that is what kind of gives me a little bit of solace is just the fact that he has kind of stepped in on her overreach once before, right? I believe she like censored somebody or something like that, and he kind of like reined her in or some shit like that. I believe I could be wrong, but I remember there's something like that. Uh, then
If it did, it was probably someone with more of a fucking, a reach, a subscription total than,
oh yeah,
Will. You know
of
what I'm saying?
course, it's basically to to basically keep all the conservative content creators from leaving the platform. But either way, what that does prove though is if she does start getting in a hand, Elon Musk is still constantly on the site, dude. He's constantly fucking tweeting. It's not like he's hard to get a hold of. Whenever if she were to kind of go off the rails, he could pretty much instantly reel her back in. And basically we could reach him right away. Well, we can't reach him right away, but the other bigger content creators can.
Yeah, I mean but she's here, repeating the line that he's reduced to a tech role, that she's in control, he's not, and she keeps saying that, man.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
Really, I don't know. It's like she obviously, in my opinion, she needs to get gone. But it's Elon Musk's company. The dude's a smart guy. Which we did kind of speculate at the beginning. When he first took over Twitter, like everyone's over here saying that he's going to be the champion of free speech. He's going to be the free speech absolutist and all that shit. And no, he's not. Like we've been saying that since day one. I know he's not. He's going to be a fucking. It's going to be a just another old tech platform. The one thing that I'm kind of worried about is whether or not he's going to allow fucking government interference and shit. Because as we just saw with the they fucking Jack Smith subpoenaed Trump's private messages from Twitter, right? And fucking of
back,
course, what was that
it was back in January.
in January? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So back in January, and I guess Elon Musk reluctantly handed him over. The
yeah. After a $350,000 fine,
right.
and they put it on a scaling fine, basically, that like we'll start fining you every day.
Yep. Yeah. So that like I said, it's the whole fucking government overreach thing. And so that's what I kind of wonder is how much of a a hold they're going to be able to have on old Elon there. So
You seen immediately upon him even announcing that he, planned on buying Twitter, and the deal, going through the court process and whatnot, that they started attacking his other companies.
yep,
You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure that that's a big part in this, man. You know what I mean? He's going to have to cuck, I guess. You know what I mean? It's going to be, there has to be restriction or what have you, and then also you got other countries threatening to fine him, other countries threatening to pull Twitter off their inner zones, and so just even being the richest man in the world, man. Obviously, you can't fight the powers that.
right. You would like to think, you'd like to believe in heroes, but at the end of the day, fucking there's still this whole big old evil entity.
Heroes get die.
Right? Say no fairy tale.
Right.
Right. All right, man. Fucking, you got anything else you wanna throw in?
I'm good, man. You guys come over, check out my shit. I put out a grip of videos. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh yeah.
Smell.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you guys in the chat. Old Dogface Outlaw 520. We appreciate all you guys stopping by. It looks like we had 12 viewers at one point. But hell yeah, good times. We'll be back here next Friday. Make sure you guys back here Friday, 10 o'clock Arizona time. We'll be hanging out, smoking some more herbs, and talking about whatever the fuck happened this week. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share this live stream out. I'll be chopping it down into smaller videos throughout the week. And fuck off. Peace.